Good morning students. Today we are going to learn regarding the ultrastructure of the fungal cell. Previously we have started the general characters of the fungi. So in that part we are going to read the ultrastructure of the fungal cell. So fungal cells, they are typically eukaryotes, isn't it? So we are already aware of the eukaryotes as well as prokaryotes, isn't it? So algae we have learned they are prokaryotic, whereas fungi, coming to fungi, they are eukaryotes. And also thallus here, they are enclosed by a rigid cell wall, right? So thallus, it is enclosed by a rigid cell wall. So this rigid cell wall, it is made up of 80 to 90% of polysaccharides along with the proteins, lipids as well as inorganic ions. And physically when we observe the fungal cell, they are made up of two types. They are cellulose and chitin. They consist of two types of components. They are cellulose and chitin. And then these after this cell wall we have a thin membrane. What is that thin membrane is called as? Means it is a plasma membrane which surrounds the protoplast. So we are all aware that protoplast, so it is surrounded by plasma membrane. And then all the cell organelles like ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, all those things are present in the fungal cell. Typically fungal cell is a eukaryote, as I have told you previously. So it is an typically eukaryotic cell, so that's why it consists of all the cell organelles. And then when we observe this fungal cell, it consists of a membrane bonded nucleus. Nuclear membrane is present, and also inside the nucleus we have nucleolus, right? So a localized nucleolus is also present in this fungal cell, right? And moving to the next topic, that is nutrition. So nutrition, when we observe, fungi are heterotrophs. Fungi are heterotrophs. So they depend on the others for the supply of food materials. So they depend on the other animals or other plants for the food materials. So that's why they are categorized into three types. They are grouped into three types. One are parasites, second are the saprophytes, and coming to the third one, they are symbiotes. Already these three words we are already aware of it. Then coming to the parasites, these fungi, they obtain their nourishment from the other living plants or animals. Okay, so they obtain their nourishment from other living plants and animals. So some of the fungi, they live only on the living protoplasm. So not on the dead one, only on the living protoplasm. That's why they are called as what? Obligate parasites. That's why they are called as obligate parasites. And also coming to the other parasites which they grow on the dead organic matter, they are called as facultative saprophytes. Okay, they are called as facultative saprophytes. Here we have obligate parasites and facultative saprophytes. There is a difference, parasites and saprophytes, right? So these are called as obligate parasites and others are called as facultative saprophytes. And then these parasites, they may be ectoparasites or endoparasites. Ecto means they'll be living on the external surface, endo means inside the host plant, isn't it? And also these endo, they may be intercellular or intracellular. Inter and intercellular differences already we know it. Then coming to the ectoparasites, they consist of a special absorbing agents called as hostoria. So these hostoria, they help in the absorption of the food materials from the host plant cell, right? So these hostoria, they may be knob-like structures, isn't it? So here we could see it. So this hostoria is the knob-like structure, right? So it does not puncture the cell wall, or it does not do any harm to the cell wall, but it directly penetrates or invaginates inside the host cell, right? And then it absorbs all the nutrients. So this is regarding the hostoria. Next, moving to the saprophytes. So these saprophytes, they live, already we are aware that they live on the dead and decaying organic matter. So these saprophytic fungi, they secrete certain enzyme, extracellular enzyme. So that enzymes, they help in the digestion of these complex food materials, right? So these complex food materials are digested by the extracellular enzyme, which are produced or which are digested or which are secreted by this saprophytes. Then these saprophytes also, some of them, they live on the dead organic matter, so that's why they are called as obligate saprophytes. And here we have to observe that they do not have the capacity to infect the living organisms. So they do not have any capacity to infect the living organism. So that's why they are called as obligate saprophytes. On the other hand, what happens, other saprophytic fungi, they infect the living organism. That's why they are called as facultative parasites. See, in the previous class we have seen facultative saprophytes, they live on the dead and decaying organic matter, whereas here facultative parasites, they have the capacity to infect the living organism. You have to observe these difference. You could not write their facultative parasites or facultative saprophytes. The difference you have to observe here. Next, finally we are coming to the symbionts. So these symbionts are nothing but a variety of fungi. They are unable to live like saprophytes or parasites. They will be living with the other type of organisms, right? Other type of plants. So that's why they are called as symbionts, right? So such association is called as symbiotic association, right? And example are lichens. So in the previous classes also I have been telling you regarding the lichens. So these lichens and mycorrhizae are the common example of the symbionts. So these lichens, they composed of fungi and algae, and also in this both are benefited. Then algae, they synthesize carbohydrates, okay, from the by photosynthesis, and other nutrients are supply to the fungi, right? And then fungi, what does it do in return? In turn, it will provide protection and sunlight, and also helps the algae for the desiccation, that means drying up. So that's why these fungi will protect the algae. In return, algae will give the nourishment to the fungi, right? So the both are in the symbiotic association. And one more thing is mycorrhizae. Mycorrhizae means nothing but so in some higher plants, in some bigger plants, bigger trees, what happen, certain facultative parasites are present. So these consist of thin filaments, very very thin filaments, so in their roots. So they do not have any root hairs. So that's why these filaments, they help in the absorption of the nutrients from the soil, and they transfer them to the tree. In that way, the tree will be getting the nutrition, and tree provides nourishment to the fungi also in return. So these two are the example for the symbiotic association, lichen as well as mycorrhizae. Okay, thank you.